Okay, so recently I just hit Masters in League in the top lane, and majority of my games were volleyball games. All right, so I thought I'd show you what I built, uh, and what I had success with in terms of runes, items, and all that nonsense. So for runes, I went either Conqueror or Grasp, and I'll put up a thing you can see which runes I took. And for the volatilize tree line, you don't like you need conditioning. By the way, you're gonna take conditioning. Can't do anything about that. The build requires conditioning, but you can choose to go whatever you want afterwards. You can go shield bash. You can go demolish. You can go overgrowth. You know the entirety of that bottom tree. You can go any of that. All right, that's fine. But you need conditioning, and the reason why is because this is the build. You're gonna build. Um, this is your core build. You're gonna build Sunfires, Tabbies, and Spirit Visage. And the reason for the Spirit Visage second item, so most of the time when you're fighting, like team fighting for like dragons, like early-ish on, um, or just team fighting because your team is, well, you guys want to start a rumble. Uh, for some reason, a lot of the time it's gonna be like a mage or something. It's gonna chunk you. They probably won't kill you, but they're gonna chunk you a lot, and that's from what I experienced. And you're gonna die. You know, you don't want that. So you build Spirit Visage, you negate that. You don't die to them as much. Like you won't get bursted as much. Basically, what I'm saying. And then the armor from the armor, you're typically fine against against most AD champions like that early on. You'll be fine with your Sunfire armor. You get the 35 armor, and you get 20 armor from plate steel caps. Uh, and along with the 12% damage decrease from auto attacks. And then obviously you're gonna take the small armor shard rune, and you're gonna take conditioning, which is gonna just enhance the armor even more, right? So that's why I built Spirit Visage second item, because most of the time some douchebag mage is gonna hurt you. You know, you get this item, you negate it, and on top of that, it gives you healing and shielding. Super good on Volibear. Uh, it's just a great item. All right, it's a great item to have. Now after that, um, you can build depending on your situation. You can build Chempunk, you can build Frozen Heart, um, depending on what you need. So the Chempunk is good if you're winning. If you're winning fights, but you're not rich, you build Chempunk. All right. But if you are dying to 80 champions, you build Frozen Heart. Uh, because it gives you 80 armor, mana, which is really good because you're running out of mana is annoying. And you know everything else, you get 20 ability haste, you get the attack speed slow, and then the rock solid passive. So this that works really well with the plate steel caps. You get a lot of damage reduction off of that. Um, you can also build Frozen Heart second item instead of Spirit Visage. Uh, depending on if the AP on their team isn't like either they're weak, they went like 07 and they're not a threat, or they're like a really like they're not a hard hitting AP champion, right? Then you build Frozen Heart, you stay alive. If you are rich though, you want to build Titanic. If I can move this thing, if I can move, build Titanic because it's gonna do a lot more damage, right? Don't worry about these. You build Titanic because you can do a lot more damage. It works on your the cleave passive, so the additional on hit damage that you get from it. It's gonna work on your Q. It's gonna work on your W, right? So those are gonna do way more damage. And then for your late game item, by the way, if you if you're building this, you're gonna build this regardless. All right, you're gonna build Frozen regardless. It depends on the order. Like you'll always go like this build in this order. You go Sunfire, Plate Steel Caps, Sphere Visage, unless it's double AD top lane and they're both auto attack champions, in which case you want to rush the Frozen Heart first into Tabbies, and then your Sunfire. It's also that's really good. Um, and then for late game, you want to build your Starax or Gargoyles, depending on what you want. So if you went like Frozen Heart, uh, for your third item, if you went Frozen Heart for your third item, you and you build full tank, so you build like Deadmans, you build Force of Nature afterwards, because you're a psychopath or Warmogs or something like that. Then you build Gargoyles. Gargoyles is the best like late game tank item. It just enhances the resistances that you already get from the other items, and on top of that, it gives you a shield. So that's really good. So build this one if you're going full tank, and then the Starax is good if you're going the Kempunk sword, because it's gonna give you AD, and it's gonna give you a big shield and a massive health boost, 400 health. It's really good. And this is typically what I'll build. This is for the ultra late game. Like you go this. Well, I guess ultra late game you would not build this item. You would build like Titanic instead. But uh, but yeah, this is typically what you're gonna do. Um, this is what the Starax one would look like. The tank one, Sunfire, Tabby, Spirit Visage, Thornmail, Frozen Heart, and Gargoyle Stone Plate. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. But yeah, this is what I built to climb majority of the time. I have tried other builds. They didn't work that well in terms of like runes. I went Aftershock before. It was horrible. At least in certain matchups, it was good in some other ones, but it was like horrible most of the time.